The news that Fauci might retire came as the third episode of my 3-part docuseries, Fauci Unmasked, was released. I'm not saying I did this, okay? I'm not saying it was all me or even somewhat me. But what I am saying is, when I floated the Michael Knowles Public Health Protection Pledge that gained a lot of steam, got a lot of candidates around the country to sign on, actually was introduced in the House of Representatives, almost verbatim, to investigate Dr. Fauci and take out his salary. Within days of that pledge coming out, Dr. Fauci disappeared from all the news shows. He basically went into witness protection. Okay, he vanished into thin air. And then, within days of my docuseries, Fauci Unmasked, being released and getting a lot of traction, Dr. Fauci says he might retire. I'm not saying it was me, okay? But I'm not saying it wasn't me, all right? It was all, sometimes there are coincidences. All nature is but art unknown to thee, all chance direction which thou canst not see. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is Dr. Fauci says he might retire.
Are you thinking about scaling back your responsibilities here at some point?
Well, I have said that I would stay in what I'm doing until we get out of the pandemic phase. And I think we might be there already. If we can stay in this, then we're at a point where I feel that we've done well by this. But, I don't have any plans right now to go anywhere, but you never know.
I was going to say, is retirement is retirement or stepping back into a consultant role? Any like that? Are you considering those options?
Brad, I certainly am, because I've got to do it sometime. I can't stay at this job forever unless my staff is going to find me slumped over my desk one day. I'd rather not do that.
He says, I might retire. I've said, look, I can't stay here forever. I mean, I've been here through 17 million presidents. I've been here, since I was around St. Petersburg when I felt there was time for a change. I've been around a long time. But no, I can't stay here forever. And so, look, we might be at the end of the pandemic. What was that? It's like a little if statement, right? If the pandemic was over, then I would retire. But then the question is the pandemic over? He says, maybe it is, but then he says, maybe it isn't. Dr. Fauci, he gets our hopes up. He says, no, I might retire. Tries to get that pressure off, tries to get that public health protection pledge off, tries to get that Rand Paul Senate amendment to get rid of Dr. Fauci and abolish his position, tries to take the heat off of that, tries to avoid the heat when the Fauci Unmasked docuseries, tries to get away from the clear public turn against him. But he leaves himself that out. He says, well, listen here, maybe, I don't know that we can totally say that we're done.
The Director General of the World Health Organization is sounding the alarm, though, saying that the pandemic's not over. Do you think it was too soon to move to the new metrics that allow so many Americans to not have to wear masks?
Jake, it's not too soon if you observe the caveat that's associated with that. And the caveat is we need to be flexible. And if, in fact, we do see a turnaround and a resurgence, we have to be able to pivot and go back to any degree of mitigation that is commensurate with what the situation is. So we can't just say we're done. Now we're going to move on. We've got to be able to be flexible because we're dealing with a dynamic situation.
No, we can't just totally say that we're done ever. No, and this wasn't just a flub. This wasn't just a gaffe where he reemerges. He goes on the Sunday shows just like I told you he would. Everyone said, oh, he's gone forever. They're going to keep him away. No, I said he's held on. He might reemerge. He might go see his shadow and we'll get 6 more years of COVID. He goes on the Sunday shows too. He goes on ABC. He says, well, we got rid of the mask mandates. We got rid of the vaccine mandate, but maybe we got to pivot.
If we do see a significant surge, particularly one that might result in increased hospitalizations, we have to be prepared to pivot and perhaps reinstitute some of those restrictions.
Reinstitute all of those masks and vaccines and reinstitute good old Dr. Fauci on every television channel in America. More on that in 1 second. First, though, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. When you go to the bathroom, you close the door behind you, right? I hope so, unless you're some kind of strange exhibitionist. You don't want random passersby looking in on you. So why would you let people look in on you when you go online? When you use the internet without ExpressVPN, That is like going to the bathroom and not closing the door. Did you know, you probably know this by now, you just don't think about it very much, your internet service provider knows every single website that you visit, and they can sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who use those data to target you. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. We're living at a time where people get punished for the websites they look at. Maybe if it's a little politically incorrect, maybe if it's a little bit right-wing, you can be targeted, you can be punished for that. Don't make it easy for them. Use ExpressVPN. I use it on all of my devices all the time. If you're like me, you believe that your online activity should not be given over to big tech giants, secure yourself by going to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show today. Use that link. You will get an extra 3 months for free. I told you this would happen. You know I hate to say I told you so. And I told you this would happen. The way I knew this would happen is that when the Democrats threw up the white flag, or seemed to throw up the white flag on COVID, they kept the power. They never got rid of it. And so I warned, I said, this is probably a fake out. They're saying COVID's over because COVID lockdown measures and the masks and the vaccine mandates and everything, they're killing the Democrats in the polls. And this is an election year, and the Democrats are on the ballot in November, and so they're trying to make it seem like it's over. But it's a fake out. Because if it were really over, they would get rid of the national emergency authorization about COVID. The Senate tried to do that. There were even Democrats in the Senate who wanted to get rid of the national emergency authorization for COVID. Joe Biden vowed, he said, I will not sign that. I will veto that. The airline mask mandate, that should have been gone, right? If COVID's over, if the emergency's over, we already know from even members of the liberal establishment that the masks are not quite as effective as we were all told they were in the beginning. Leanna Wen, the medical analyst on CNN, said it's nothing more than a facial decoration. And yet, when the time came to get rid of the airline mask mandate, what happened? The airlines extended it just another month, just 2 weeks to slow the spread. Then it'll probably be over, right? They didn't get rid of any of this stuff. The only reason they had to get rid of some of the federal mandates on the masks is because we at the Daily Wire beat them in the Supreme Court. So they lost on that one. That's why some corporations are getting rid of it too. But they held on to the power because they're going to bring it back. And they're just debating, do we wait until after the election to bring it back? Or will it help us to bring it back before the election and get everybody freaked out? Everyone had their attention on Ukraine for a while. So Ukraine was the big issue. And that distracted everyone, and so they lessened the focus on COVID. But now the Ukraine issue seems to be dying down a little bit. I mean, the war might not be dying down, but as a matter of concerning the public, it's not quite as captivating anymore. So, okay, now we're going to go back to COVID. And they seem to be bringing it back again. The only way that we are going to end the COVID tyranny, the dictatorship of little Dr. Fauci, is if we do it ourselves using political power. It's not just about, well, follow the science and maybe we'll meet halfway and this and that, and maybe in this area we don't need masks, but here we do. It's kind of like the transgenderism issue. You just got to throw the whole thing out. You got to throw it all right out the window. Either we're going to have a country run by Dr. Fauci, or Dr. Fauci needs to shut up and go away. Either men can secretly be women, or they can't. And we can't split the baby on this. That's never going to work.